Good evening. We'd like to call Plaquemines Parish School Board regular meeting to order at 6:01 p.m. at South Plaque High School. We have invocation by Ms. Monica Works and Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. Daniel Morrell.
Please stand. Dear God, thank you for this day. We come asking you to lay a protective hand over all the students, teachers, faculty, and staff returning to school. Protect them and their families. Many have lost jobs, homes, and struggle day to day just to make ends meet. Protect those who are going back to school from violence and sickness. Provide our students access to school supplies and other resources that help them keep their minds focused and their eyes open wide, knowing that you walk with them each and every day. This we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Roll call and declaration of quorum, Mr. Roussel. Here.
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 1.04, approve of agenda. Call for a motion.
I'll make a motion with the following changes.
I'll second it.
4.0, defer 4.03, discussion and appropriate action in regard to CNC Marine and Repairs request to amend the ITEP contract ITE-2019003/2019003-A, Catherine Phelan, CFO. And we'd like to add 5.02, discussion of appropriate action in regard to approval of the Director of Daycare and Early Childhood Network Coordinator, revised job description, Superintendent Roussel and Ms. Patricia Haydell.
Ms. Lamb, can you second it? Okay. Any questions from the audience? Questions from the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. 1.05, ad hoc and standing committee reports. We have none? Yeah, we do. We have finance.
Budget and Finance Committee meeting was held June 29, 2022 at the North Transportation Building. Members present were Joyce Lampkin, Chair, Darylyn DeMol Turner, Fran Bailly Martinez, Jennifer Sanger, Dennis Roussel, and Catherine Phelan. Others present were Monica Wirtz and Sonia Duplessis. The meeting was called to order at 4:35 p.m. The first item on the agenda was a discussion by Ms. Phelan regarding CNC Marine and Repair, LLC's request to amend ITEP contract number 2019003-A-ITE. The committee was reminded that the contract is currently in default status for 2020 reporting period, and the company is requesting to amend the contract, specifically requesting to decrease the required annual jobs and annual payroll for the project years 2022 through 2023. Ms. Phelan informed the committee of a recent meeting with a representative from CNC Marine who provided information regarding the company's inability to meet the required quota as stipulated in 2020 ITEP contract. Also noting during the meeting that CNC Marine and Repair has consistently expanded its workforce over the years 2020 and 2021, which have proved to be very challenging for its company. In summary, and authorized by the LED, Louisiana Economic Development, local government entities, in this case the remaining two, may either defer or approve the request. A resolution of default was presented to the committee for discussion and review. The matter was recommended to the full board for consideration. The next item on the agenda was a discussion by Ms. Phelan in regards to approval of low bidder for Belle Chasse Primary School parking lot improvements. The results of the bid tabulation sheet were distributed, discussed, and available for review at the meeting. The winning bid was awarded to Thigpen Construction Incorporated. The next item on the agenda was a discussion regarding the approval of a RFP for emergency and remediation services in anticipation of hurricane season. The bid sheet score form was submitted and also available for discussion and review. The winning bid was awarded to BMS CAT by recommendation of the committee. The next item on the agenda was a discussion by Ms. Phelan regarding approval of RFQ for architectural services. Ms. Phelan explained FEMA's requirements as it relates to the RFQs versus the RFDs. 6 bidders submitted the requested documents for consideration. The committee voted on 3 firms for possible recommendation to the board. The next item on the agenda was a discussion of the final retiree health insurance policy. Ms. Phelan presented the final revisions from Forethought. The revisions mainly address corrections to the language to ensure all verbiage was aligned with district policies. The last item on the agenda was a discussion by Ms. Phelan regarding the door and hardware project at Belle Chasse Middle School. The committee was informed the project is scheduled to start Tuesday, July 5th, with the installation of new doors. There being no further business, the meeting was adjourned at 4:55 p.m.
Thank you, Ms. Lampkin. Item number 2, Plaquemines Parish School Board Recognition Annual Presentation, Budget versus Actual General Fund, Ms. Catherine Phelan.
Good evening. As I mentioned to you at our last board meeting, the state auditor is asking that all school districts present their general fund budget to actuals each month. We are doing very well against our budget. We currently have a surplus and anticipate that we will have a surplus at the end of year. As of May, the ad valorem or property taxes were $1.2 million below budget. We do anticipate that the ad valorem will go up before the end of the year. There will be a slight deficiency from the budget, but not the $1.3 million that you currently see as of May. Sales and use tax, according to this report, we were $274,000 under budget. Now, let me say this. As of the May actual sales tax collections, we are significantly over budget. So you may ask, well, why doesn't this report show our sales taxes as over budget? Because the office that collects the sales tax doesn't get the May sales tax in May, and then they don't send it to us in May. So there's about a 45-day lag, sometimes 60 days, until it shows up on our books. We record it as we receive it. We will be over budget in this category at the end of the year. The state revenues, MFP equalization, we anticipate that this will flatline by the end of the year. It may be under budget by $100,000 or potentially over budget by about $100,000. So that's pretty much a flatline item. Our federal revenues are significantly under budget because we had budgeted $5.9 million in Katrina collections, which we have not received to date. Our expenses in almost every single line item, we are under budget. We are over budget in general administration. This is due to an error that we found wherein some of the fees for those who collect our tax revenues had not been recorded properly in prior years. We have since corrected that within this fiscal year, which is why we have an overage here. It has no impact to the bottom line because the revenue figures are grossed up to include those figures, and then the expenses are down below. That is the correct way to record those entries. The next item where we are over budget in expense is operations and maintenance. This is essentially due to $1.4 million in IDA expenses. We had to pay that up front. We do expect to get reimbursed. And then we also, as we've discussed, we have some very old chillers which are requiring a lot of maintenance. The first chiller has been ordered for Boothville, and then the second one on the list will be South Plaque Elementary. So we are moving on those projects to mitigate those repair and maintenance costs. And then the last significant area is the operating transfers under other financing sources and uses. We had budgeted a transfer from ESSER funds to the general fund. However, the accounting team booked those expenses in the ESSER fund. So it's just a manner of book entry that was more efficient for them to do it that way instead of moving the revenue over to the general fund and keeping the expenses in the general fund. And that is a general summary and broad strokes of where we are on the general fund. Any questions?
No questions. Thank you, Ms. Phelan. Item number 3, board members' time for non-agenda and agenda items. Any board member?
I would just like to say thank you, Ms. Gagnon, for your services. It's a sad day for all of us up here, I'm sure. Whoever's coming in behind you has got big shoes to fill. You look like you got big feet. Don't take that the wrong way. So I'm excited. We're gonna miss you. Thank you for the last meal, last supper. So, and congratulations on the appointment. Look forward to talking to you at the next meeting. Thank you.
I'd like to say thank you to Ms. Gagnon also, and congratulations to Karina. I'm looking forward to working with you. And thanks, Ms. Gagnon, and I wish you the best.
Any other board member? All right, I'm not gonna cry because we got history, me and Ms. Gagnon, like serious history from Phoenix. You know, she took my children underneath her wing and definitely made them her own, and I'm truly gonna miss you. But I gotta say, Trakina is definitely, gonna keep me in place as she's done so very well from Phoenix. She gets me right every time, just to let y'all know. She's a no-nonsense type of woman, so I know South Plaque, you know what I'm saying, they gained an angel, and I know she's gonna definitely leave a mark, make a mark, and definitely get it right. So thank you. We're gonna miss you, Ms. Gagnon, of course. Thank you for the hospitality. Don't pick up the food too fast because I need to get my plate to go. Any other board members?
And we have Ms. Chisholm here. That's our assistant principal.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Ms.
I
Wooten's
didn't
not
know who
able
you
to
was,
make
and I didn't want to
This
say
is Ms.
anything and be
Chisholm,
like,
our assistant principal.
so, thank you. At least we
Work
get to meet the
along.
assistant principal in person. We welcome you. Thank you. Looking forward to you being a beacon light for Ms. Trakina. I really appreciate that. Ooh, them women gonna rule. I'm telling you, women gonna rule this school. Like, all right. All right. Any other board member have anything else? All right, we'll move on to superintendent's comments and reports.
Yeah, at this time, I'd like to give Ms. Turner and Mr. Wayne Myers their certificate for 20 continuing learning units for the calendar year of 2021. So if you could come up to the front, we'll take a picture with you, and I can give you your certificate.
All right. Number 4, Mr. Roussel, superintendent's comments and reports.
Okay. Okay, 4.01, discussion and appropriate action in regard to the approval of the budget adoption schedule for the 2022-2023 school year. Ms. Phelan.
We'll call for a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Did we have a
Ms. Joyce,
second?
I mean, Ms.
Okay.
Fran did.
You have before you the proposed budget adoption schedule for the 2022-2023 budget. Essentially, this is the same schedule that you all followed in prior years, except possibly for last year due to the transition from Mr. White to me. But what we are proposing is that we discuss the proposed budget initially August 15th at 4 p.m. before the special board meeting to present that to the public, and then we have our regular, wait, hang on just a second. Yes, that will be before the special board meeting to present that. Then on September the 12th, we propose that we have our public hearing for that budget at 5 p.m. before the regular 6 p.m. board meeting. We hereby request that you approve the budget adoption schedule.
Any questions from the audience? Questions from the board? We call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Board. 4.02, discussion and appropriate action in regard to the final retiree health insurance policy revision.
We call for a motion.
I'll second.
Forethought Consulting came back to us and asked us just to make a few minor modifications to our proposed final employee health insurance policy. Essentially, we're changing the word will to shall, the word district to school board, the words, or inserting the words retiree percentage and then total, board percentage total in the grid. And then, as we had previously discussed, we're making it clear that this applies to employees hired on or after January 1st, 2022, and or those rejoining the school district after that same date. We've just stipulated that at number 4 and number 5, just to make that very clear. And then they have taken out some redundancies. And then they have suggested that we take out the word "you" to employee or employees. Any questions?
Any questions from the board? Questions from the audience? We'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Call for a motion.
I make a motion.
Okay.
We received 5 bids for the work on the Belle Chasse primary parking lot enhancements. The low bidder was Thigpen Construction at $447,000. We are hereby requesting that the board approve this recommendation to go with Thigpen Construction for the improvements to the Belle Chasse parking lot.
Any questions from the audience? Questions from the board? Okay, we'll call for a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Discussion appropriate action in regard to the approval of the RFP for emergency remediation services in anticipation of hurricane season. Ms. Phelan.
We call for a motion.
I make a motion.
There you go.
We are at the beginning of hurricane season, and last year we went through Hurricane Ida, and we had to make a quick pivot after Ida hit for emergency remediation services. That can create an additional time span on the receipt of our funds from FEMA. In order to remediate that problem, we are asking that the board approve an emergency remediation firm in advance of hurricane season. These firms are required to respond to us within 4 hours of a phone call. This will ease the burden on facilities and help us to focus on other areas. The committee chose BMS CAT. They had the highest score. They were very, very impressive. We're hereby asking the board to approve BMS CAT as the district's emergency remediation service for hurricane season.
Any questions from the board?
I have a question. I guess my question is, why now are we doing this? We've never had these in the past. Is there something that's changed in the FEMA law?
Yeah, there is. That's a great question. The FEMA of today is not the same FEMA after Katrina. The reason that we have not gotten reimbursed for the major portion of our Ida expenses is that because we did not have procurement and a firm in place. Was that wrong? Not necessarily, because we have an obligation to the taxpayers to get the schools up and running. We just have to jump through a few more hoops to get that reimbursement. We have to do a cost study analysis, things of this nature. FEMA is very particular about procurement now, and it would behoove us to adhere to that.
All right, that's what I was looking for. I didn't know. I know in the past we haven't had it, and I was just wondering if something had changed. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Questions from the audience? We'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Discussion and appropriate action in regard to the approval of the RFQ request, qualifications for architectural services, recommendations. Selection committee recommended 3 firms to be awarded for future PPSB projects.
Call for a motion.
I make a motion.
We had 6 submissions for architect firms. This is also in anticipation of hurricane season and any other architectural projects that we may have forthcoming. It is recommended that we choose several firms because we may have one firm heavily involved in a project, or we may, through the work that that firm does, we may not be happy with that firm. So this allows us to quickly pivot to another firm without having to go through the RFQ process again, which can take time. Of the 6 firms that submitted, the 3 highest scoring were NY Associates, Meyer Engineers, and Yates Mansell Architects, formerly Yates and Yates. By no means do we have to use all 3. It's just good to have a backup. We are hereby requesting the approval of the board for these 3 firms.
Any questions from the board? Questions from the audience? I have to say no on this
Okay.
one. But any other board member? Approval? Yeah, I'm saying no.
Say yes.
And board, we can always come back with an RFQ if we're not satisfied with the ones that we have, to solicit more architects if needed. I've done a lot of research on this, and I think we're pretty good where we are now, but if we need to come back and somebody specializes in a certain building that we're building, we can always come back and ask for another RFQ.
We doing roll call?
Roll call? Okay. Darrell Damali Turner.
No.
Daniel Morrell.
Yes.
Joyce Lampkin.
Yes.
Wayne Myers.
Yes.
Fran Bay Martinez.
Yes.
Bobby Ingraham. And Jennifer Sanger.
Yes.
Okay, Madam President, Chair.
The motion carries. Two noes and 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 yes.
4.
Motion passed.
Thank you.
Discussion and appropriate action in regard to the approval of the PPSB 2022 Hurricane Preparation, Response, and Recovery Plan.
Hi.
Dr. Ritz.
Yes,
Call
thank
for a
you.
motion.
Make a motion.
All right.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Mr. Bateman sends his apologies, but his daughter was married this past weekend, so they're still celebrating. They went on a little vacation this week. So he sends his apologies for not being here. In lieu of that, though, he did ask me to present. The Plaquemines Parish School Board's Hurricane Guide is reviewed and revised as needed on a yearly basis. Revisions are made upon changes in best practices and policies and experiences from the latest storms from the state and federal guidelines. This guide was sent to the heads of departments, principals, and suggestions were made and updates were done in their respective areas. We're asking you to approve it with the one caveat. In looking at it, in the finance department, something was not added. Because we're in hurricane season, Mr. Bateman isn't here, we're asking that you approve it with the understanding that an amendment or an addendum is going to be made to the finance department area upon his return next week. And I'm sure he can send that to you. We're just a little cautious because we're in the season. I know there's something stern maybe at the end of this week. Do you want to move forward and approve, or what is your recommendation?
An addendum for the correction of the issue that we discussed earlier.
Okay.
All right. Any questions from the board?
Is this going to be available to the public on our website?
Generally, yes, sir, it is.
Any other questions? Questions from the audience? We'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The hurricane passes, I will definitely tell Mr. Bateman. Generally, he said something in regards to they're still good.
Till
on certain-
2023, yeah.
I checked it. Double check and see, Ms. Lampkin. I'll let him know to double check and send everyone an email. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ritz. Head Start monthly budget, Ms. Haydell.
Hi, good evening, everyone. We submitted the budget for this month in our new fiscal year. If anybody has any questions? No? All
Thank
right.
you.
We're working on that back porch, and we're hoping concrete, if the rain will give us a little bit of a break, we'll get that poured at the end of this week. So looking forward to having my porch back.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Haydell.
Do you have all your air conditions working?
Why, yes, I do. Thank you.
Madam President, may we take 5.01, 5.02, 5.03?
Absolutely. We call for a motion.
Oh, we have to do the,
Oh, the number 2 has to be separate.
yeah.
There's
Okay.
a termination that needs to be voted separately.
That's fine. So 5.01, 5.01, 3 and 4, and 5.02 has to be separate.
No, it's only the termination that's listed under the employment-related action. If you look at the executive portion of that, you'll see 2 letters.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Those are the 2
Yeah,
items that require board's approval.
okay, so we have to do it separate, okay.
So you're just gonna take 5.
For 5, we'll do 1, 2.
2's deferred, right? No,
No,
No.
2 is added.
2's added.
All right, let's just do them separate. 5.01, Mr. Rousseau, come on. We don't
Okay.
wanna confuse ourselves.
Okay.
Discussion and appropriate action in regards to approval of the job description for a master teacher. Mr. Rousseau, we call for a motion.
Second.
All right. You confused on
That what?
5.01? Oh, that's when we're talking about 5.01? I'm
Yes.
confused now, okay. Any questions from the board? Questions from the audience? We'll call for a vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I was confused, sorry. 5.02, discussion of appropriate action in regards to approval of the Director of Daycare and Early Childhood Network Coordinator revised job description, Mr. Roussel, Ms. Haydell, Director of Head Start. Call for a motion.
Make a motion.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Questions from the audience? We call for a vote, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Minutes of the board. And then 5.04, is that what we need to,
Only the termination you need to vote on as a board.
okay. It is in the, pack. So 5.04, employment-related action taken by the superintendent for the 2021, 2022, 2022 or 2023 school session. So if you go in your packet, it is a letter, 2 letters, as a matter of fact. Do we need to read the letters, or?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. I didn't think we should. Everybody got a chance to look over it? Ms. Fran made the motion. We need a second?
I'll second.
Okay, everybody looked over it? Any questions? You have a question? We good? Okay. All in favor by saying aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Information item. Citizens' comment? Have none. Date, time, and location of the next meeting will be Monday, August 15th, 2022 at 6 p.m., Belle Chasse High School. We'll call for an adjournment. Ms. Fran, you're right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting is adjourned at 6:35 p.m. I was so confused when I left.